Hi, and welcome back to
Inspired to Game. I'm Sean.
And I'm Lola. If you enjoy what you see here, please support our channel by subscribing down below.
And if you've already subscribed, thank you very much. And why not round it out with breakfast at Millie Ways, the restaurant at the end of the universe?
Well, today we are talking about Steam Up. Steam Up is a new game out by Hot Banana for 2 to 5 players, where you are customers visiting a restaurant for dim sum.
The mechanics involved are variable player powers and set collection.
Before we get into our review of this game, we're going to give you a very quick overview of how to play it.
In Steam Up, you each play a magical creature who has traveled into the mountains to find Steam Up, a restaurant renowned throughout the world for its dim sum. Unfortunately, they only serve a certain limited amount of their famous dishes to each table, so you and your friends are going to have to compete to see who can devour the most and leave with the fullest stomach. You will each have your own animal card with a unique power and scoring table. Each round, players will take turns collecting tokens, using tokens to buy steamers from their feast zone, or collecting or playing fortune cards, which also allows them to turn the turntable to get other steamers into their feast zone. To purchase a steamer, they spend tokens for what is in the steamer and then remove it from the stack, take the dim sum out and place it on their scorecard, and gaining the corresponding victory points. After the first round, each round begins by turning over the top card of the Fate deck, which provides a bonus to everybody for that round. Play continues like this until a certain number of steamers have been purchased, according to player count, or the Fate deck is empty. Then you just add up your points and see who has left with the fullest stomach from Steam Up.
The components in this game are a delight. It is so wonderfully thematic and it's so tactile, especially if you've got the deluxe edition where we've got those little dim sum that are actually squishy like little Everdell berries. So they're very fun. But from those to the different layers of the steamers to moving around to access different parts of it, it's very tactile and very satisfying and fun to play.
Yeah, I love the plastic steamers. I almost wish they had a little bit of texture to them to make them feel or look more like bamboo, but that would have raised the cost of the game, so I will live with it.
I actually like them just the way they are, so we differ with this. Keep in mind that the components that you see here are from the deluxe Kickstarter edition. So those little squishy dim sum that we had that you see in our footage here is only limited to the deluxe edition. If you have the regular edition, you're going to have little cardboard tokens, which in fact have a benefit of being a little bit less cumbersome to use. Because the squishies are absolutely adorable and I can't imagine playing without them because I love them, but they're you have to get them just right to fit in the steamers. They kind of bounce around. They try to run away.
And when you're doing a blind draw out of the bag, they suggest that if you have the squishies, it's a little bit too easy for you to reach in there and go, oh, I'm doing random things. Oh, look at that. I got the pork bun, exactly what I needed. How odd, because you can feel the difference in their shape.
Yeah, so in that case, though, there's the workaround because there is a die that has each of the various dim sum on it. So you just roll and that's what you pull out of the bag as a side step to that. So whether you have the retail edition or the Kickstarter edition, it's really worth it and it still has a lot of table presence and it still has really nice components. One of the things that I particularly noticed about the board is it actually has little feet underneath it that it kind of raises it up a bit and makes it sturdy on the table. So as you're turning the dim sum steamers around, it's not causing the whole board to rotate. And it's a really nice touch for added elegance.
Yeah, it picks it up off the table so that center button, the axle that the turntable is hinged on, isn't making the whole thing rock back and forth.
Yeah. So to play this game, I think, is an absolute delight. It is a joy to play this game. It's fairly light. It plays for about 40 to 60 minutes, so it's not a long game, but it has a nice little thinky puzzle too. And with having the various different customers you can play with, they each have their different power, and they also each have their different scoring on their individual boards that make each game unique. Because each customer, you're going to be approaching the game a little bit different with how you're going to be choosing what to do and what you're going to be taking. And it is a nice little thinky puzzle.
Mm-hmm. One of the other things I like about the animals is that they follow the Chinese zodiac. So and you randomly select your animal card if you want to, or take the one from your birth year. I haven't done that yet, actually.
Yeah, well, they suggest to take two and give two to every player, and then you choose which one you prefer. I actually like to take three randomly, and then each of us choose from those, just because it gives you a little bit more variability. But having a random amount delivered to everybody means that somebody's not going to be always picking their favorite card that they always win with or anything like that.
Yeah, but they each have their own personalities. Not necessarily what you would think. I think the horse is a speedy eater. Maybe that does make sense. The lion has specific. Sorry, not the lion. The tiger has specific dishes that it's looking for. There's the monkey, which is the naughty kid. There's the pig is the food critic. The food blogger, sorry. They all have all these different personalities and different powers based on that personality. It's kind of really creative and neat.
Yeah, and so far they seem to be fairly well balanced between the different players. Now we've played this just a few times, and we haven't tried all of them out, but based on our experiences so far, they seem to be nicely balanced, which is good. And they each have an associated little wooden meeple, which is adorable to put on the score sheet. I think there's a really nice balance between strategy and luck with this game. So if you watch my channel, you know that our channel, you know that I don't like a high luck game. I like a good amount of strategy with my games, and obviously a lot of games have a good luck component, and I find this one to be nicely balanced. So you get a lot of luck with the fortune cards that you happen to get. They all give you some kind of benefit, but you can use them in a very strategic way. So, and I really like that. So there is a nice strategy to it. It keeps you going, but there's just enough luck to keep you guessing too, and you don't know which way it's going to go.
So the first player marker doesn't move each round. The first player is the first player until somebody plays a fortune card to move it. And as Lola said, that's where the strategic play of a card comes in, especially in a two-player game where I'm going to take my turn, I'm going to use my second action to play a fortune card, which makes me the first player, so now I get the next action as well, and I basically get 2 turns in a row. The other great thing is the fate cards. The fate cards that come out at the beginning of each round usually have something in there which is dependent on whoever is behind on the amount of steamers, or the player that has the least amount of points. They get something special. Not all the time, but sometimes it is a self-balancing game in that way.
Yeah, that's something that I think is really nice about the game, because it's very friendly and it has a lot of built-in catch-up mechanisms like Sean is talking about, and they're in the fortune cards as well. So there's lots of cards that will let you do something, and if you're behind in steamers or if you're otherwise behind in points, you get another bonus. So it's great to have a game that has catch-up mechanisms for somebody's really falling behind. It just makes the game more fun for everybody, and I like the balance of that. I love when the game does that. And as far as friendliness with it goes too, there are a certain amount of cards that have a certain a bit more of a potential take that mechanism to them, and they're actually highlighted. So if you want a friendlier game, you can remove those cards to make it a bit more friendly. So those will be the cards where it'll be like, take something from somebody, take their cards, or take their tokens, or that kind of thing. So it's kind of nice to have that option to make that friendly for those of us who like a more friendly game, especially when we're sitting around having dim sum. The last point I have is I really appreciate the ever-shifting puzzle that it is. So between the rotating around which steamers are in your area that you're allowed to take from, to what's there, your variable player powers, and how new ones are emerging as certain steamers are removed. There is a bit of a thinky puzzle to it, and it's constantly changing that you have to constantly adapt to, which also brings in your different fortune cards as well, and how you can play them to your best advantage. It makes it a very fun game. This is one that I do recommend for a more on the lighter side, family-friendly game, one that's probably a great gateway game to play as well. So you can probably find this in retail right now at your local flags. Check it out if it sounds interesting to you. In the meantime, thank you so much for watching with us today.
Check out some of our other videos if you have time, and in the meantime,
happy gaming, folks. Okay, I'm going to do that again because I like the other way to say. And before we give you a review of this game, we're going to give you... And before we do a review of this game, I think I'll just go with my original.